Hello, my Leo Collective. I am here to give you your message for June 2025. Um, so, like always, I like to look at the astrology and see how that astrology is going to be affecting you positively, negatively, yada, yada, for the month. And so, the first thing I want to look into is the retrograde of Pluto. It will be until October 15th. That means that there is this energy where every single month it will be affecting you a little bit differently. So, I want to see how it will affect you, my Leos, for June. I don't like this one. We have the dream realm number 20. It says, not everything is what it may seem. Bring yourself back to back from all times and all places as a new perspective can be seen. For me, whenever I see this one, I feel like be careful with your dream state. A lot of people, you know, a lot of belief system. It doesn't matter if it's pagan or Catholic or any kind of other religion. All of them have this modality. It can be prayers, it can be devotionals, it can be meditation, however your specific religious belief system is. But all of them say that you should do something like that to protect yourself in your dream state, but also in your wake state. In our dream state, we have a way of entering not only into receiving message of this reality, but we can also, depending on your energy and who you are and your spiritual authority, jump into different timelines. So as you're sleeping, you're living your life somewhere else, and whatever happens there happens in this world, right? So whatever agreements, contracts, attachments, and entanglements you make in those realities can play a big role in this reality. And with the snake, it feels like you're being pulled. There's three different snake heads here, and so it feels like you're being pulled in three different dimensions. The problem is that if you're being pulled in three different dimensions and you're living three realities at the same time, each one is affecting this reality, but at the same time, um, they're making you fragmented, your energy fragmented, which would make you dizzy, make you tired, make you lethargic. Actually, the movie that's coming into mind, that movie Cloud Atlas. Um, it's an older movie, but it's talking about like you're following the storyline of the same people, but in many different lifetimes, and how their positive actions resulted into a positive outcome in their future, and how their negative actions resulted in negative actions in their future, and how twisted that web is, and how we're kind of like consolidating different timelines into the one. And right here, it's saying that things aren't always as they seem, but the reason is that the people that you're talking to in this world, the things that are happening to you in this world, are a direct lineage or connection to what has happened to you in the dream world and different realities that you were in. And so I feel like um, I want to say the collapsing of timelines. There is a collapsing of timelines, which if you weren't able to consolidate what you needed to consolidate in that lifetime that is being collapsed, you've lost that knowledge and you have to start from zero again. I don't know why they're telling me that. This one's going to be very esoteric. Just right off the jump, I can tell you that I feel like somebody here is starting to lose some kind of spiritual authority based on their decisions in the dream state. And this is why I tell you it's super important to have some kind of meditative practice before you go to sleep, and some kind of meditative practice before you go out during the day. You need to be able to have the armament of God when you go out to the world, because we are in a world full of wolves, right? It's like when Jesus was talking to his disciples, us disciples, right? And he told them that I am sending you out in a world full of wolves. You guys have to be as sly as a snake and as docile as a dove. You need to learn how the ins and outs of these people's mind is, so you don't fall into these entrampments. The problem is that if you're not aware of your dream state, if you're asleep, you will fall into these traps. Um, um, this one's making me feel itchy. This reading, I'm starting to feel like really itchy, like my head is itchy. Um, And that usually tells me that there's a lot of spirits around here. My eyes are itchy. My nose not itchy, it's just my eyes and in my head, which is talking about your crown chakra being infiltrated and being, I heard, diseased, which then is changing the way that you look in your reality. This one's this one's gonna be a heavy reading, y'all. Okay, next thing, the full moon on the 11th. It is in the sign of Sagittarius. Mercury is in Cancer, and there's a sextile in Venus in Taurus. This is actually a very good manifestation moon. Actually, the new moon and the full moon in June are like freaking massive. They're very, very good, right? I just don't know if you will create life or you will create death on it because of this initial energy of Pluto. It's kind of telling you that your negative outcomes is based on your fragmentation of your energy, based on all the different dimensions you're still and timelines you're still stuck in. Um, so let's see how this is going to be affecting you. I would do anything that has to do like meditations and stuff that have to do with reclaiming your energy and reclaiming your energy um, and cutting connections. Oh my god, I said cutting connections and I didn't see this card that just came out, which is the scissors. You're making me itch so bad. Anyways, the first thing that came out is the nest, and it says an emotional, secure, loving family is important to you. But this is talking about the nest, which reminds me of the temple of my body, which is talking about your foundation, right? The next thing we have is a fly, which is a period of ill health and depression, right? And the third thing is the scissors, disappointments in some affair. And what I'm feeling is this energy where you have to, I just heard you have to ruffle your nest. I hear this guy that does meditation. He has a really deep, scratchy voice, and he says, get yourself prepared for meditation, ruffle your nest, right? And it's talking about like clearing out things from your, I want to say, foundation, your base chakra that is creating illness. And it's a mental thing. It isn't a spiritual thing. It's a mental thing. So this can be creating nightmares. This can be creating psychosis. This can be creating negative thought patterns. This can be creating depression, but it's because of timelines and things that you're still connected to. Again, I feel like this is strongly a reading for a spiritual person. So if you can't follow this, then it might not be yours. Flies remind me of Beelzebub, which is demonic energy, and he's the Lord of the Flies. And that's one of those things where you are connecting to lower versions of yourself, because that's something for another reading, but you're connecting to lower versions of yourself, and this lower version of yourself before used to help you manifest much of what you wanted, because it created that energy of, I want to say, Judas, right? Where lying, stealing, cheating to get ahead. And in this reality, it has served you well, but now you're starting to see how it's mentally affecting you, because as we're moving into the age of Aquarius, these forms are starting to come back to bite us in the butt. And right here is talking about a disconnection, a cutting free from this energy. And so what is happening, let's say that you acquired position, authority, and wealth based on a connection that you had in a previous life of something that you did shady. Well, because those timelines are collapsing back to that reality that I'm telling you, that the timelines are collapsing, you are now disconnecting from the acquisition of those energies. And then now that you're losing them, right, you're going to start seeing a series of unfortunate events happening in your life, but it's because the authority, the privilege, and the energy that you had based on that negative act that you did in another life no longer will benefit you in this one. You will no longer acquire what you acquired because it doesn't exist, because that timeline collapsed. So I'm feeling like I'm going to be seeing this a lot in orders and principalities of this world and governing angels of this world, where they came into power due to their lineage and their root chakra that was corrupted, and all these evil things that they had done. And it's like a declaration of all these things coming through and then slowly destroying the lineages that came to be based on that distortion. So this is when they're saying correcting timelines. And if you were thinking back into the future, back in this 80s show movie, that when if parents don't get together, the children aren't born. So then they kind of dissolve and disappear. And so it's kind of like that. But the person wouldn't disappear in front of your eyes. It would be one of those things where they won't reproduce and they won't create lineages and whatever, because that timeline should have never existed. So I don't know why I'm going into this crazy tangent, but we're going to go with it because that's what's coming out. Next thing that I'm seeing is in the energy of the 25th of June, which is the new moon. The new moon, it will be in the sign of Cancer, and it has a conjunction in Jupiter in Cancer. Again, this is a very expansive energy, mostly on relationships and connections that you are creating. It's an energy of expansion, and it's all about your root, your foundation. And this is why I think this is coming up, because your foundation is being cleared out. There's things in your lineage, there's things in your root chakra that should have never been there. And so those, I feel like the way they're showing it to me is like they're showing me the root system of a tree, and there's all these roots that are rotten and they're like full of fungus and whatever, and it's like an energy of pruning, but instead of pruning the outside, the things you can see, they're pruning the base. And because they're pruning the base, the roots, the branches that received from those roots, their energy will start to wither and die. And so it's a form of pruning, but from the base up instead of from the top. um I hope that makes sense, because that's all they keep showing me, images of a tree and the roots, and then just cutting off these and just unrooting certain parts of trees and stuff. And then you're seeing this tree that has all these branches and all these leaves and this whatever, and it's starting to wither into something a lot smaller. Um, anyway, the 25th, let's see how that's going to affect you guys. I got two. All right. And I told you the month of June is spiritual for you. We have the hawk that says spirituality. Fly above and beyond your day-to-day thoughts to observe them from a bird's eye view. Quieting the mind and detaching from your thoughts. Thought patterns puts you in a better position to take in messages from your spirit guides. And see, the thing is that I think the connection, the roots that are being cut off, we're actually connecting you to energies like Beelzebub, right? Which is more demonic, low frequency energy. That it was creating this distortion in your mind where you were feeling depressed or you were feeling like the world was against you and whatever. And this hawk energy feels like spiritual hygiene, where now you're starting to question the spirit that's coming through, because it doesn't feel like you anymore when before it was you. And then we have the hedgehog trust. This is a reminder that even if you feel that others do not understand you or get what you are doing, it is not is it is no excuse to curl up and hide. Sure, you need a little bit of space right now, but the world needs your gifts. You are more than worthy. And with the hedgehog, I feel like this energy of, um, you know, I just heard winter is coming. And you know how um, I feel like there's going to be this energy of you wanting to hibernate, because you're not going to feel like yourself. You're not going to feel like the person that was able to manifest the way that you did before. The gifts that you had before, like they're all gone, or the situations no longer feel like they did. And when we don't feel like ourselves, like we feel, we have a tendency of hiding. And so here it's saying, I mean, there's going to be a part of you that's going to want to hide, but there's another part of you that still needs to continue doing what they're supposed to do. I would say be mindful at the periods of your life where you're being told to hide, and take a moment for yourself. And then also be mindful of the times that you need to go out there in the world and really connect. So having a good balance, because there is a lot going on in the spirit. And I personally myself have gone through a lot of that pruning of the root system, and that really messes you up. It gets you sick. It gets you like physically sick. It gets you exhausted physically and drained physically. It changes a lot of the way that you perceive the world and people around you. And so it does have really strong effects in you, but you're still expected to function in this world. Just give yourself those extra periods of rest that you're going to need, because you are going to be going through a period of mourning. Okay. So that being said, let's go through the 4 weeks. This is weird because I picked this one up because the Eight of Wands looks like a woman trying to control a tornado and feeling totally frustrated. And the bottom, when I split it, is a Seven of Swords. I feel like you will feel like internal turmoil because you're going to feel like something is being taken from you. It definitely is. But it's not something you're going to be able to do really anything about. And I know some people are not going to really like that. And it's because there's a collapsing of timelines. Some realities just will not reality anymore. And it's because of corrections of timelines, and those that know. Okay. First week. First week is strange. The first thing we have is the Knight of Cups. And this is a shark coming around saying that they love you, they care about you, they want to offer you something, but you see their energy of the shark. And then we have the Four of Cups, which is you're frustrated with what's happening in front of you, because this is coming, but you can't do anything about it because the things that you have don't equip you for what is coming. And then we have the Seven of Pentacles, which is again taking care of your garden. This feels spiritual, first of all. Okay. The thing that's coming towards you is the thing that you've been able to avoid this entire time and ignore, because you've had this, I want to say, cushion around you because of the authorities that you had based on darker versions of yourself. I hope you understand. I feel like I'm going to keep saying, I hope you understand, because this one's going to be very metaphysical, and it's not for the normal person, like the normal mogul. This is definitely for a spiritual person. Um, the thing is going to come to offer you a lot of stuff, and it's spiritual, and it's like, look at this, I'm going to give you this, and this is why I'm telling you, watch your dreams, and this is why I'm telling you, you should be protecting yourself before going to sleep, because this might be offered in your dreams. And it reminds me of Hellraiser. I think it was number 3 or whatever, where he entered her dreams and showed up like her dad, and she's like loving on her dad, saying, oh my God, I missed you or whatever. And he asks her for the box, and she gives it to him, and then she finds out it's Pinhead, the one that wanted the box to begin with. It's kind of like that, where they will present themselves as your family or something you really want in your dream state, offering you something. But once you accept it, right, and once you connect to it, then you're frustrated about the things that you have in front of you because they're empty cups, but now they're costing you. And this all has to do with the investments that you made in a previous life. So these are all your demons coming to visit you, asking you to pay what is owed, because the people that used to pay it, or the situations that used to consolidate your debt, no longer are consolidating it. This is a crazy reading. Second week. The first thing we see is the Hierophant. The next thing we see is the Three of Pentacles. And the third thing we see is the Ace of Pentacles. Literally, it's saying that your belief systems, the Hierophant, will give you the connections that you need to invest in the right things. And this is me going back to what I told you before. I don't know how you grew up. A lot of people try to look for new religious beliefs. when they're trying to explore spirituality. I don't agree with that. I think you should start with what you grew up with, because it gives you already have spiritual authority over there, because usually your parents baptized you in it, or they acclimated you to that religion. If you don't have that, then you have the open field of trying to figure out something for yourself, right? But if you were acclimated, or I want to say baptized into a covenant with a belief system, that belief system has the tools required to help you release yourself from what is coming up from the darkness. Okay? So it's returning to your roots so that you can understand how you use that as the armament to protect yourself from this energy. My flame in that candle is insane, and the smoke coming out of it is no joke. It's black. That's significant. In third week, we have the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is learning the scripture, learning the rules, learning the magic, being very smart. It's like knowing when to use the sword and when to use the pen, right? Then we have Aquarius energy with the star card. That's as above, so below. So there, it isn't just these connections that you made from previous lives that are coming to visit you, but how they has distorted your mind and the way you perceive the world and the way that you function in this reality, that you're going to have to clean out too. So your mind, doing work that has to do with your mind. There's this book called Spirit Hacking by Shaman Durek. Yes, Durek. That is good at shamanistic work of clearing your mind. Or if you're not into spiritual stuff, doing this book called Spirit Hacking by Sir, I forgot his name. Not spirit hacking, mind hacking. Hold on one second. Okay, I looked it up. It's mind hacking, and it says how to change your mind for good in 21 days. It is by Sir John Hargrave. That's showing you how to unprogram the programs that you've created in your mind, the habits that you fall into, so that you can reclaim your mind. This is important, because the Queen of Swords is very smart, because she has learned through the pen, through books, through scrolls, through information, how to take control of her mind, and then how to cut things out when she has to. Then we have the Judgment energy, which literally is telling you, showing you how to judge things correctly so that you can become the emperor. This is significant. Week number 3 is significant based on how much work you put forth to reclaim your mental state will determine if you come back to life and if your frequency shifts, because this one reminds me of a shift of frequency, because frequency is like music. It's a tone you let out. The stronger your tone, there are certain frequencies, lower, denser frequencies that cannot reach that level, right? And so because of it, they cannot reach you, but you have to constantly be in that frequency. And the way you do so is by controlling your mind. And so I'm like, it's kind of a loop. Whoever separated church, like religion, medicine, and magic was literally did it for a reason. They did it so that we can never reach enlightenment. We can never reach an understanding of self, because we are mind, which is the science. We are spirit, which is the religious aspect of ourselves, and we are physical body, right? Which is you know you guys put it all together. So the machine that we have, the mind that we have, and we're the spirit, and every aspect is important. So medicine is important, religion is important, and our actions are important, and each one manifests the whole. And when we separate that shit, we mess up everything. And this is what I'm feeling here. Medicine is the body. Psychology, things that have to do with counseling and the mind, that's the mind. And then spirit is like religion. Separating those 3 things was terrible. But here it's talking about having to reclaim those parts of yourself so that you can be the emperor. You can be the ruler of this temple of your body. Okay, fourth week. And I'm not talking about spirituality like this new age stuff about peace and love and everybody's happiness and sunshine. You know, we don't get anything done just by being light beings. We need to be heavy too. So just as much as you consolidate and you help and you heal the light, you have to help and heal the dark. It's time for you to do the work. Fourth week, that's the Eight of Pentacles. Three of Wands, look for the opportunities required. This is knock and the door shall be open. Seek and you shall find. Ask and you shall receive. This is you needed to actively look for the opportunities so they can come towards you. And then Page of Pentacles, starting this journey into the unknown so that you can move forward. The bottom of the deck is talking about the Ten of Cups and the Two of Cups. This is talking, and this literally for some strange reason is telling me that this is more spiritual than it is physical. Cups can represent emotions, but they can also represent spirits. And the Ten of Cups is talking about the spirits that you are aligned to, the spirits that come from your family lineage. And then the Two of Cups, choosing the right connections. Okay. And then here we have the Six of Cups, which is your foundation, your upbringing, and the Queen of Cups, which is listening to your intuition. And then the Fool card towards the Three of Cups. Do you see all these cups? My candle just turned off. All these cups are talking about spirits. And what I'm feeling is you are connected to so many spirits, but there are some connections that you're going to have to revisit because you were connected to them as a child, but they might not resonate with your frequency. And it's your time to go into this fool's journey, this new beginning, and discovering what aligns to your mind, your body, and spirit, and what you have to start disconnecting from. Because here I feel like you are connected to certain energies that are not for your greatest good, and your job is to disconnect from them. And not all of us are in alignment to be able to heal this stuff. The reality is that we're going to start noticing it in the 3D world because certain lineages, certain families will not be given the I want to say authority to create descendants, to expand their name, because of the fact that they are not connected to the correct frequency, because it's time for them to pay up what is owed. And so a lot of people have been, instead of I want to say paying their debt, they've just been transferring it to the next generation. And the way that they're consolidating that is that we're not allowing for next generations. You have to deal with it yourself, or that generation and that lineage will end. And so, again, those that have ears to hear will hear and understand what I'm talking about. I hope this helps you, and we'll see you the next time.